Alright, trickers and trickers, time for the penultimate episode of Review of the Day with Unification. Starfleet Admiral Brackett informs Captain Picard that Ambassador Spock has gone missing and an intelligence scan has been placed on Romulus, raising fears that he may have defected. Picard orders the Enterprise to Vulcan to speak to Spock's ailing father, Sarek, with whom Picard shares a close bond. Sarek gives Picard the name of Pardek, a Romulan senator that he knew Spock had been maintaining a dialogue with for several decades. Lieutenant Commander Data discovers a visual record of Pardek from a trade conference and confirms him as being the figure seen on the intelligence scan of Spock on Romulus. The Enterprise crew find the remains of a decommissioned Vulcan ship, the T'Pau, and the debris of a Ferengi ship which crashed in the Henolan asteroid belt. Picard and Data locate the spot where the record of Pardek and Spock was taken, which Data determines is an Intelligence Bureau building. They wait until Pardek arrives, but when they approach him, they find themselves met by soldiers and taken to an underground cavern. Pardek arrives, explaining that Romulan security knew they were on planet. Picard states he is looking for Ambassador Spock, who emerges from a nearby tunnel. Spock demands that Picard leave Romulus, while Picard informs him of the Federation's concern over his cowboy diplomacy that he has engaged in, as well as the death of Sarek. Predictably, Spock takes the news of his father's death stoically. He explains to Picard that during the peace negotiations with the Klingons decades earlier, he felt responsible for putting Captain Kirk and his crew at risk. Working low to avoid similar issues, Spock is now engaged in a personal mission of peace, the reunification of the Vulcan and Romulan people. He is working with an underground movement to achieve that aim. Pardek has asked Spock to come to Romulus to meet with the new proconsul of the Romulan Senate, the young idealist who has promised reforms. Picard expresses concern that the willingness of the Romulans may be part of a larger ploy. Spock agrees, but points out that if a larger plot is at work, it is best they play out their roles within it to uncover it. Meanwhile, the Enterprise has arrived at the Galordan core, discovering the 3 Vulcan ships. As the ships start to move towards Vulcan, the Enterprise blocks their path when they suddenly receive a medical distress signal, a distraction created by Sela. As Riker orders the ship to its source, they receive a broadcast from Romulus, where Spock reveals the true identity of the 3 Vulcan ships, as filled with Romulan soldiers. A Romulan warbird uncloaks, destroys the ships, and recloaks. Riker suspects that the Romulans would rather kill their own than have them captured by the Federation. On Romulus, Data and Picard bid farewell to Spock. The ambassador is intent upon his goal, realizing that it cannot be achieved through diplomacy or politics. The captain offers Spock a chance to touch what Sarek shared with him, and the two mind meld. Aww. So anyway, let's get some background info and some production notes about this episode. This episode was aired in the weeks before the release of Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country. Spock makes reference to the events of the movie when he asks Picard if he was aware of Spock's role in the first peace overtures to the Klingons. Picard is aware of the public history of Spock's role, but not the whole story. Spock says that he forced Captain Kirk to accept the mission, and that he felt responsible for what happened to Kirk and his crew. This time, Spock only wants to risk his own life, which is why he came to Romulus on his own. Leonard Nimoy previously required $1 million to cameo in the series, but he took minimum SAG pay to reprise the role of Spock to popularize Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country, on which he was executive producer. This is one of 4 times that an original series character reprised this role in The Next Generation, the other 3 being Encounter at Farpoint, Sarek, and Relics. The episode was dedicated to the late Gene Roddenberry, who had died shortly prior to its broadcast. Aww. So I want to say this is a really darn good episode, and if you're a fan of Spock, then this is definitely one episode to check out. So, overall, I give Unification 5 warp cores out of 5. Well, join me soon for the final episode of Review of the Day with A Matter of Time. So, until then, live long and prosper, everybody. Live long and prosper, everybody.